In this video, we'll see about handling data in Flint. Data are essential as they serve as an interface between the Sparklet widgets and custom business logic. Typically, user interaction on a widget affects the data map to that widget and vice versa. All the data that will be used by the application can be defined and mapped to the widgets by creating a data file. To create a new data file in Flint, right-click on Data and select New, then select Project. On the dialog, select Sparklet Data File option. Now enter data file name and click Finish. We can now see that EFD file is created with two different tabs, Data Variable and Data Bridge. Here we have taken the trip meter as an example. We have placed a label widget to display the trip values. Assume the trip ranges from 0 to 999.9. To create data for it, click on the Add button in the Data Variable tab. Data variable is like declaring a variable in programming languages where users need to provide the following. First, the name, which is a user identifiable string. Then, ID, which is a unique name to identify the data. Now choose the storage type to allocate the size of memory for the data. Next, enter minimum and maximum values that can be accepted. It can also be set dependent on other data. Then data type and units, which indicates the physical type and unit of the data. Now, save and select the Data Bridge tab. Data Bridge is used to mention the way of data consumption. Now click on Add button and provide name and ID. Next, select the Usage as for value to specify that the data will be used as a value that will be displayed on the label. Then select the conversion. Here conversion is set to formatted string. In Flint, the following conversion types are available. The first is to string, in which data will be converted to a standard string format. Next is formatted string. Data will be converted to user-defined string format. Then, scaling absolute, used to scale values from one range to another. Range map, to set up a mapping of values to simple integers that can be used for state management. Enumeration, to set up a mapping of values to strings that can be used to display special texts. Translation, to set up a translation ID that can be used to show texts in multiple languages. Next, enter format, which is used for conversions. For example, %t for integer values, %.1f for floating values, and so on. This formatting is very similar to the one in C language. And finally, set the required data variable in data 0. Now, map the created data bridge to the label widget. Simply export and simulate it. We will now go into more detail on the range map and enumeration conversion. Range map can be used to map a range of values to one integer, and use it for further operations like UI state, etc. Let's take the fuel gauge of an instrument cluster as an example. Here we have used progress bar widget to show the fuel level in two different ranges. Assume that the range of the fuel level is 0 to 100. The fuel bar will be in red up to the range of 20, and blue beyond that. Thus, we exported two different bar images and placed them in the Images folder. Create two self-UI states under State Configuration and set the images for both states. Let's create data variable as fuel level with minimum and maximum values, 0 and 100 respectively. Select conversion as the range map in Data Bridge, then click Format, enter the upper limit as 20 and 100 on the dialog, and the return value, which is the UI state ID, as 0 and 1, respectively. Click OK and set the respective data variable in Data 0. Now map the data variable under Advanced Properties and Data Bridge to Self-UI State under States. Now simply export and simulate. The fuel level will be displayed in red up to 20. Above that, the state ID will be changed to 1, in which the blue bar will be displayed. Now we will see enumeration conversion. It can be used to map integer values to text information. Let's take an example of the days of the week that are displayed on a label widget. Simply drag and drop a labels widget. Now create data variable as days, with minimum and maximum values 1 and 7 respectively. Now select the data bridge and provide a name and ID. Choose the conversion as enumeration. Click on the format. In the dialog, enter the value and texts that are to be displayed on the label. Click OK and set the required data variable in data 0. Now map the data bridge to the label widget. Simply export and simulate it. By entering the corresponding data value, the days of the week will be displayed in simulation. Watch our other tutorials to find out more about the advanced features of Flint. Thank you.